Welcome back to DBC. Today we are covering the last three chapters of solution-focused brief therapies. That'll be chapters 8, 9, and 10. Starting with number 8 is focusing on solution-focused supervision, which they call leading from one step behind. And this is really a callback to the first chapter where we were introduced to the three types of agencies. The first one being an agency that deploys solution-focused interventions in an otherwise problem-focused session. The second type being agencies that use solution-focused therapy inside of a larger context, the agency that is, management styles, that is problem-focused. And then the third type of agency, which is one that uses solution-focused interventions both inside and outside of sessions. And that third one is what we're going to be talking about today, because that's the idea here, how to best utilize solution-focused practices specifically in the supervisor role, and as well as the rest of the agency. And the principle behind this chapter is that there's no dichotomy between management theory on one side and counseling theory on the other side. They don't say as much, but it's a question of people theory, of what's an effective way to work with people towards something that they want to get. And it doesn't matter if it's your client or an employee, or as we've seen before, a referral source or someone from an outside government agency. Perhaps the tactics people will be talked to differently, but the same ideas and the same focus can be applied either way. So there should be a spirit of discovery, curiosity, and accountability in our management theory, which is the same things that are coming from our sessions. So the idea is that we're doing solution-focused interventions on our employees, or with our employees and counselors, as well as our clients, right? So the supervisor assists counselors by this model in discovering a unique and meaningful way for them to fit into the agency. And they do that by modeling the spirit and behavior that they hope their counselors have as solution-focused therapists. It's a great emphasis of modeling and practicing what you preach, basically, if you want to be all like that about it. Okay, so the idea is to ask the counselor what their miracle would look like. And again, so for the future focus, and I think that it may be even better in this situation to use the time machine question. Because there tends to be a sort of a linear aspect to performance reviews and everything. So the time machine question, if the time machine could give you a special gift that you didn't even know you had, what would it look like, a year down the road? And then there's a couple principles they touch on for good solution-focused management. And one, it starts from the leader or the supervisor, is to expect the miracle. And that if that is evidenced by your management and how you are in the agency, that the therapist will expect it as well. And so this idea of leading from within the team as opposed to without the team or ahead of the team. Again, the title of the chapter was leading from one step behind, not one step ahead. The idea, reframing mistakes as opportunities for learning, so that when a mistake or a problem occurs, the questions that you want to ask are like, well, what skill resolves this? And then what has been learned? And then always a key to avoid the writing reflex, as a therapist would, again, modeling that behavior as a supervisor, to listen when your impulse is to react and to ask yourself what's being communicated, what's not being met. And this is really just a continuation of the rest of the book. We spent a lot of time talking about solution-focused work with clients, of course, in the session, and then their families as well, and referral sources. And it only makes sense to be philosophically consistent to use that same approach with your employees as well. That's the nuts and bolts of Chapter 8. Chapters 9 and 10 were a little bit less information points for me to hit on. But Chapter 9 is about maintaining the team's miracle, observations from the team, which is where they actually let a bunch of their own therapists from their agencies write the chapter. And they talk about a lot of things that we've talked about already, such as modeling a non-hierarchical approach, even though there is a chain of command to not be so authoritarian or authoritarian at all with it. Working with referral sources and their own employees, the work environment, goals, and all those things. And one really interesting thing was about hiring new employees that I picked up was worth making a note about, is that they have each counselor in the agency but part of the interview process for new employees. And the idea that creates much more buy-in from those who are already there when they have a new team member, because everybody has to want the person to be there for them to be there, which is really interesting. And they could create a dynamic of wanting them to all succeed, because it's like, hey, this is your girl that you picked or your guy that you picked, whatever. So that was pretty cool. Chapter 10 lists a bunch of case examples of clients who've changed their own lives in the way that the authors do their work. Again, pretty cool. I don't want to just read to you guys here. So I would, if you've got the book, look through those, because there's some really cool back and forth in the dialogues of how to redirect certain things and to focus on solutions. And that's solution-focused brief therapy in a nutshell. So next time we're actually going to finish up with a metaphor and then a bit of analysis on solution-focused brief therapy as a whole, a couple of pluses and minuses, and where to go next. So thank you guys for watching. Have a great day.